And thank you for the warm introduction, Tatiana. Before I jump into the details of BitNinja, let me introduce our company and tell you the story of how BitNinja was born. I started a web hosting company about almost 20 years ago in Hungary at a university, and about 7 years ago, we had a lot of problems with hacked websites and malware attacks and DOS and phishing and spam. And it caused us a lot of churn and reputation loss. Our support staff and the sysadmins were keep fighting with customer complaints and hacker attacks, and I've known that this has to be addressed to go for the next step with our web hosting business. So that's when we started in-house development, and then soon we realized that this is a worldwide problem, and that's how BitNinja was born from this internal development. All right. So in the recent years, I believe I don't have to tell too much about the COVID pandemic, but what we have studied about it is before the pandemic was started, having a website and having an e-commerce store was mostly an option for SMBs, so small and medium businesses who sell directly to customers. But when the pandemic kicked off, it became vital to these small companies to have an online presence, and because lockdown could happen any days, and as we saw last year, it happened in many countries. So there's a big increase in the number of websites, and it also caused an increase with the number of cyber attacks. So what we have learned from the data that we see and collect on our infrastructure is there are almost 2,000 attack attempts to each web hosting server in average. So the sophistication and techniques of cyber attacks are increasing, and the value of these attacks in the black market is higher and higher. So the current timing is very very good to focus our attention on the cyber security aspects of servers and websites. All right, we have built a model from how cyber attacks are carried by automated and targeted attacks. And what we have studied is there is a scheme of these attacks, and there are layers which are similar in each cases. So the first step that the attackers do is to collect intel about the system that is being attacked, to find which vulnerabilities they can abuse and exploit. Once these vulnerabilities have found at the exploitation phase, um, they are injecting some backdoors or viruses or malware on the targeted system and execute it. And this executable, in many cases, open a callback connection to a command and control server to create a persistent threat at the affected system, and then the owner of the botnet can use these installed malwares, whatever reasons they are wanting to. So sending out spam, doing DOS attacks, stealing credit cards or other credentials, and so on, and also expanding the botnet or using the infected systems for other attacks is also quite common. So if you so to have a great cyber hygiene on your system, you need to cover all of these layers, and and in general, you would want to have different systems in place for each of these layers. And what we have built is an integrated tool that can cover all of these layers and provide protection against the different stages of cyber attacks. With the rise of cloud-based infrastructures and cloud-based and containerized infrastructure, it is more and more complicated to keep your security configurations and your security settings at one place. And that's another thing that we were keeping in mind always while we are developing BitNinja, to provide a centralized system that can help you to secure your nodes, and well, a node can be a bare metal server or a virtual server or container, but the important thing is to keep it centralized. So this way you can avoid the problems of having different configurations or different security settings in a couple of nodes. We've built this centralized infrastructure with a web interface which you can use to configure the security aspects of your server cluster or node cluster. So this way you can log into this centralized control panel, and you can easily manage and configure the different aspects of the security on your system. But how do we actually provide this security? Well, BitNinja is built up using security modules. So as I mentioned earlier on this slide, each layer needs different tools to achieve security, and we implemented it with specialized security modules on each layer. So now I would like to tell a couple of words about these security modules. The first and most basic one is the IP reputation module. Why is it important? Because if you have a list of the most infected IP addresses, and you can shut down the connection from these IP addresses, then you already winning half of the battle in many cases. But having a good IP reputation system is tricky, because most of the IP reputation lists that you can find on the internet are not real-time systems. So you need to download it every 8 hours or 12 hours and apply the list. With BitNinja, you get a real-time system. So every time gets an attack attempt from an IP address, this information is sent to the BitNinja center, where we filter and then redistribute this information to the whole ecosystem of BitNinja protected nodes. So it happens very fast. So within a couple of seconds, a new botnet address is distributed to all of the nodes. And thanks to this, we can react pretty fast for new threats and also for IP addresses that are no longer a threat. So we can avoid much more false positives. And also, it's important to know that this whole system is fed from a large number of servers, and we federate this information and redistribute to every user. Also, we have a quite large database from the past 8 years that we collected these incidents, and you can use this information database to decide in cases where it's hard to decide if it was an attack or it was just a legitimate request. When you see the IP reputation history of that IP and you see that, all right, this IP is attacking other servers as well, this is a no-brainer to decide. The next module I would like to talk about is our capture module. So the IP reputation system has three lists. One is the blacklist. Probably you all know the concept of blacklisting and whitelisting. But we also have a third list that we call gray list. And we keep IP addresses on this gray list, which caused some problem, but are not dangerous enough to cut off the connections. So for the requests coming from these IP addresses, we use different techniques to decide if the connection is coming from a legitimate visitor or user, or is it an automated request, and there's some robotic traffic is involved. For most of the cases, this is not so this is invisible for the visitor, because the visitor can can only see this browser integrity check screen for like a couple of seconds, and then the website reloads automatically, and the IP address is removed from the gray list for that server. But in some cases, when we see more server attack or an incident at the local server, then we render regular captcha page that is harder to mitigate for botnets. So this way, it is quite efficient to filter out malicious trials. You can also personalize these elements. So there is a built-in language detection, and the CAPTCHA and browser integrity check is fully ready for white labeling. And you can also, so it is translated to like 15 languages already, but new translations are pretty straightforward and easy, and more than welcome. All right, the next phase of the attack is the part when the attacker is trying to save some malicious files and inject some malware on the server side. To mitigate this this attack, it's important to have some active anti-malware. So to have some anti-malware product in place. And we have created an anti-malware engine that is especially developed for web vulnerabilities. So not every antiviruses are the same. If you try to use, you know, like an Avast or Note 32 that is specialized for end user devices, it won't be effective against web vulnerabilities. This engine is especially designed for finding and removing or cleaning web vulnerabilities, or I mean web malwares. When you start the BitNinja agent on a server, the anti-malware module will start to monitor your file system, and it will look for file changes. So every time a new file is created or a file is changed, there is a scan automatically happening, and you can of course start manual scans as well. And also, if there is any missed file that the engine was not able to detect, but you know that that is a malware, then you can create your own malware signature. And that's the same concept like with the IP reputation, that we enable our users to send those files and create their own signatures, and then we federate this information and then distribute the new signatures to every BitNinja user. And as we have a quite a massive user base, this mechanism is happening pretty fast, and can help you to secure your server, even if you are not creating signatures, but you can do so if you decide to. There's also an SQL Scanner module that is in beta test right now. So we are looking for participants who would like to join to our beta test. That is basically connect to the local SQL server, or the SQL server that is configured, and runs the anti-malware engine on the records of the SQL database, because in some cases malware can be hidden into the database, and and it is also as important to have a scanner for the database. All right.
So before moving forward, I just wanted to say that we have a question already about the previous module, most likely. So Tomasz is asking how capture affects the score in Core Web Vitals. It seems like this could show the page, slow the page, down by 2-3 seconds.
All right. So this browser integrity check is only happening on IP addresses that are on the gray list. So it doesn't happen every time a visitor is visiting that website. Only with IP addresses that we have some suspicious activities registered earlier. So it won't affect all the requests and all the visits. Only those that are coming from suspicious IP address.
Great, thank you. I hope that answered the question. So guys, if you have any other further questions, don't hesitate to drop them. We will try to answer them during the webinar and as well at the end of the webinar.
Yes.
Let's move on. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question. It was great. All right, so the next module is the Web Application Firewall. So to have a good protection against the exploitation phase, it is very important to have a WAF in place. And the problem with WAF is most solutions on the market are pretty complicated to configure, and creating rules or changing the rules needs very advanced knowledge about that product. So that's where we tried, or that's where we brought the solution to create a WAF that is backend agnostic. So you can use this WAF solution for any backend server, for Apache, Nginx, or even for Node.js. Any HTTP server can be protected with this WAF because it creates a reverse proxy in front of. Sorry, what happened? So
this is called demo effect.
I didn't do anything. All right, so yeah, here we are. So it creates a reverse proxy and it can connect to any backend server. It is also quite important that it can handle encrypted traffic. So if well, in most of the cases nowadays, each website is using SSL and encryption, and of course to filter the real traffic and not only at the package level. You need to remove that encryption and look into the real content. And this WAF is absolutely capable of decrypting the traffic and doing the filtration of the decrypted content. It is so we've created an easy-to-use web interface to manage the rules, and you can even so you can change the settings, of course, by server level, or you can even go down even to domain level, or as we call domain patterns. So you can restrict or define rules for a domain and URI level as well. And to avoid false positives, there is a feedback loop implemented in the web that helps you to manage or identify those rules that are triggered many times and then caused false positive because then the captcha was solved. Uh, we provide updates and new rules for the 0 days, so you don't have to struggle with creating new rules. And of course, you can also send us rules that you cannot find in the rule sets that we provide. So we can add this uh, to the set of rules, basically. All right. The next module is our DOS detection module. So in many cases, so of course, at the server level, you cannot mitigate network level DDoS attacks. So when the for example, when the router is overloaded with packages, then you cannot do anything at the server level. But and there are great solutions for to solve this problem of network level DDoS attacks. But there are other DOS attacks as well, and application level DOS is an easy one for the attackers because even if you have network level DOS detection, application level, so those solutions won't cover you against application level DOS attacks. And that's where our DOS detection and mitigation module comes into the place. Because it can find and eliminate these attacks as well. And of course, it elaborates with the IP reputation list and add the offending IP address to the IP reputation. So this way it is quite efficient. And the last module I would like to talk about, and this is one of my favorites, by the way, is our Honeypot modules, because if you so I like to hunt for hackers and botnets, and I believe. One of the key reasons of the success of BitNinja is that we are trying to to give a tool set that can help you to be more powerful or help you to have more powerful tools than the attackers have. So, for example, our port level honeypots emulate different services on your server and pretend that there is a vulnerable service. So anytime a botnet or actually anyone is trying to connect to those fake services, we can be sure that that the intention is not good from that request. So this is one of the most successful module that is feeding the IP reputation list, and it is very efficient and very low false positive rates. And we also provide an application level honeypot module that you or your users can use to build into web applications, to add some decoy into the web application that can help you to mitigate targeted attacks. So that's what I wanted to tell about the system specifics.
Yeah, thank you, Jules. That was insightful and useful information. Guys, if you have any questions related to this great tool, please don't hesitate to go to the questions tab. And now I will provide the presenter's right to Igor. So Igor can show us how this great security tool is implemented within our platform and how you can make it possible for your customers to use it.
Yeah, so the tool is really great. I was playing that for all last week, and it's really powerful. The tool is implemented as an add-on, and the add-on can be installed just to any container from the black panel. And for example, I have already installed it on one of my environment, but let's install it from another to another. The installation is simple as that. So pay attention, the add-on is paid, of course, and it will charge the customer just on hourly basis just from the main balance. The license is automatically issued just after the installation of an add-on to the container, and the account, if that was the first installation from your account, the account will be automatically created on BitNinja portal, admin console, and you will get notification by email about that you have account created, and you can log in to the web page to the console to manage your agent that are installed. So what I did, so installation is going, and meanwhile I have the engine installed, and I can see it here. So I can also have the button to get to the portal immediately, and I can restart the engine in case of necessity. And the thing is that if I uninstall the agent just with a button, it automatically disable the license and stop charge the customer. So yeah, the add-on is installed, and very shortly this new node will appear inside the portal. And while the engine is starting to report, I found a few malware scripts. So just imagine I found a PHP malware script collection on GitHub, and started to play with that. So I just took the script, and first I just pushed all this folder to a node, and then also tried to push some separate script just to see how the system will react. And here is my node when I was previously testing, and there is anti-malware tab where I can see all the infected files the system was able to detect. So as Zol told, the system automatically does the check of all the files that are accessed by the applications, but also you can do the manual check if you need to schedule just some certain time. And that's what they got. So I had 47 malware detections just on inside my container. And within this page, I can even see with which event this detection was correlated. For example, if this file came from FTP service, the system will detect that the FTP upload was correlated with the detection of malware script. So that's most likely the way how you got this stuff inside your container. That's yeah. So let's see. So we have node which appeared just recently, and let's do some nasty stuff. Let's go to the node and just drop a script there. I will go in very usual way. Now we need to wait a bit, and the system will detect automatically that this script is something that shouldn't be there, and it will appear inside the tab. That's my previous one. Yes, we need to wait a few minutes. Yeah. In the meanwhile, while the system is checking, so we will see that within this page you will be able to manage the nodes when the agent is installed, and you will be able to see models about which are represented by Zolt. That will be like every model is responsible for its functionality. And also the system detects which kind of environment it's running in. So if it's a database node, it enables specific stuff for database. If it is web server, the system also automatically detect that, and you're able to see what are services just highlighted with the specific stuff which is related just for that certain software. I don't know how many minutes it should go just for that standby detection, but by last time it was detected just really in a minute. And as you can see from that previous nodes, the system really detect the stuff, and you also can see what kind of malware it is related to.
Maybe you have created the file before the agent was started. I mean, before the malware detection module started. It's just.
I think after, with files after that.
But maybe say if you just add one space or something, then it will pick it up, because yeah, I mean,
just like that.
Yeah, if you rename it, that's the same effect, I guess. Interesting.
The file were manually created just on another node with some other script, so it was detected just fine. And there is information also about the file is placed to quarantine, so you're also able to find that file just in a way they are just for further analysis. But they are originally are deactivated from the file system where they were located. The file is still here. Kind of demo effect, but it works definitely because the script I just created before like that, so it was detected just fine. And yeah, that's it. But anyway, so let's wait just for questions, and then we can check just in a few minutes. So I believe the file will be detected, and I will also read copies just.
Sure, let's wait. Maybe the system just needs a few moments because we are too fast and trying to do everything at once. So yeah, thank you, Igor, for showing this slide. Just for you guys to know who you can contact if you're interested to move further with this solution. So in case you need to get more information, you can get in touch with your technical project manager in the platform as a service team. And also to get BitNinja up and running on your platform, you need to sign additional addendum to your contract, as usual we do with the licensed solutions that we are adding. So you just get in touch with your project manager, you will get all the required information. Most likely your project managers were already in touch with you about this topic. And just for you to be aware, we are planning to start promoting this solution in about 10 days, I think. So now we are polishing some articles, we are polishing some materials, and soon we will be publishing that, so you will be able to use that in your marketing materials as well to promote this service to your customers and attract new customers as well. And let us know if you have any extra questions. I see Gustavo is saying thanks. Thank you for joining as well. So in future, if you're going to have any extra questions about the technology itself, you can also contact BitNinja team directly. And for the further steps with enabling this solution within the platform, please contact your project manager. Do you have any questions, guys? Please drop your questions in the question tab. So far, it seems to me we had this question about capture, but in general, I think that the presentation was very insightful with all the details about each module. So now our attendees need some time to think about all that information, and I'm pretty sure that soon we will have your emails, we will have your contacts willing to enable this tool within your platforms. So if we don't, okay, we have a question, that's great. Why there were no events in the events pane in the Igor's BitNinja panel? This question to Zsolt.
All right. So at the events panel, you can find the changes of the gray list, and also it's kind of a federated information flow from the agent. And why we didn't see these informations, I guess, is because there are no incoming requests to this container that we just started. At least that's my perception about it.
Okay, great. We have some extra question. Latest log4j shell vulnerability. How did BitNinja mitigate it?
Yeah, so we created a WAF rule within, like, I believe within 24 hours or so within 1 or 2 days when this vulnerability was discovered. And we've also wrote a blog, by the way, about this vulnerability and what you can do to mitigate the attack. And we added it to the default WAF rule set. So if you enable the WAF, then this is sufficient to mitigate that attack.
Okay, great, thanks. Bojan is saying that this is a great product. Thank you.
Thank you so
Next question from Damian. What customer effort is required to maintain the solution? For example, what configuration or troubleshooting is required?
Yes, so our aim was to create a tool that requires virtually no maintenance. So most of the things happens without any interaction with the system, and the users get reports from the incidents and from the attacks or found malware. Of course, there are a couple advanced configurations, and if the user wants to go deeper, then there is a possibility to fine-tune the system and even to contribute to the whole BitNinja ecosystem by, for example, adding extra rules to greatest IP addresses, or to add new malware signatures.
Okay, great, thank you. One more question. How much time it takes to scan an environment?
Well, so the malware scanning part absolutely depends on the speed of the storage system, and the amount of data that has to be scanned. In smaller setups, so when there is like a website, it's very fast to do an initial scan. In larger, for example, I can tell an example in my web hosting company. In our larger servers, the initial scan can take up to 4 days, but with the initial scan, we cache a lot of information about the files that we have already scanned. So for the next scan, it will be much more faster. So the first scan can take like 4 days, but the next full scan is like hours, like 6 hours.
Okay, that's right.
Significantly faster after the initial scan.
Yeah, one more extra question to this one is it going to affect the speed of environment, this scanning?
Well, when we designed the agent, we know that in shared hosting, being resource friendly is a question of money. So so everything we or the agent does is as resource friendly as possible. So in most of the cases, what we see is after installing BitNinja, for example, on a shared hosting server, the server load decreases and not increases because of the high volume of unneeded or unwanted traffic that we save the server from. Of course, the agent itself uses some resources, but most of our users report that they benefit much more from the resources that they save than the resources the agent takes to run.
Yeah, considering these resources, at the moment we have a question also connected with that. So Ishan is asking, what is the resource consumption of BitNinja on servers while running and while scanning? Do you have any estimates on that?
Yeah, well, so when the agent is running and not scanning, it is very resource friendly. So if I remember good, well, we have a minimum system requirements specification in our docs page, but as I remember, it won't eat up more than like 800 megabytes of memory, and most of this memory is necessary for the gray list, because currently the size of the gray list is about 1 million IP addresses, and we store it at kernel level and also at the web application firewall level to be able to do the filtration. So yeah, memory-wise, that's the requirement about. And CPU-wise, well, we are relying on the kernel functionalities in most of the cases, so it is very fast and well, very efficient. But wherever possible, we filter the connections at the most early places. So, for example, with the blacklist, we filter at the Mangle table. So this is like the first table where we can have the real IP address. So it is resource friendly in that term as well.
Okay, thank you. Igor, we have a connected question to you as well here from Damian. Do you restrict installation of Bikinis add-on with a minimum number of cloudlets based on the RAM requirements that Zsolt just described?
Yeah, there should be a limit, and also the limit for the trial group. So that the group which is not in billing has no ability to install, and there should be a limit for a minimal amount of cloudlets to check. Yeah.
Okay, so some of the partners are really happy that this will increase cloudlet consumption as well, revenue in this direction. So that's a good point. Okay, so any other questions?
I think I have one if you allow me. So if you create a custom signature for the malware, for example, you detected a malware and you submit this custom signature, it is shared. I assume it is shared, yeah, between the federation, between all the other people.
Well, when you create a new signature, first it will be shared on a user level, so all of your instances will get that signature, and we federate the signatures when we see multiply users as contributing the same signature, and of course we are adding some extra manual steps here to avoid creating a signature that removes like every index.php or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's what my question basically, because what
Yeah.
if I just create signature for init, which is classically binary, the same file in many systems like Ubuntu or Debian. So will it be spread across other people and just kill the bin init from all the other systems across the globe? So the answer is no.
We have steps in place, so multiple users need to report, and there is also a manual check before we release a signature. And but actually, first we release the signature in a so-called validation state, when it only reports the found files but doesn't do quarantining. And when we see that it is a normal amount of files, and we want to quarantine the whole internet, then we release that signature.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, great.
Thanks for the question.
That's a good question. Yeah, thank you. And I see that so far we don't have any new questions. So it seems to me that we covered the majority. That's great. We provided the information. Now you guys have all this information to think about. And please don't forget to get in touch with your project manager in order to enable this solution within your platform in the near time and start promoting to your customers because this will increase your revenue for sure. And I'm pretty sure that the customers are going to be interested in such kind of security solution. Igor, Zsolt, anything else to add to finalize our discussion?
Well, thank you so much for your time, and appreciate for the questions as well, because I think it helps us to have some feedback and from these questions, I believe, so what I see is that the whole concept is understandable. So thank you.
That's
Thanks
great.
everyone. Yeah, and there are contact your account manager just for further steps. They will tell you what to do to enable the stuff on your platforms. Thanks everyone. Yeah, have a good evening.
Great. Have a good rest of the day. Until the
Yeah,
day.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, of course.
Have a good day.
Yeah, have a good.
Thank you.
Yep.